Just give me the high sign.
Oh, okay, then how about,
It says it's recording right now.
yep, okay, then, all right, Roger, you're on.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We are here to, with the advisory board for the Transient Guest Tax Grant Program. We're kind of a free-flowing board, not necessarily with a lot of structure. And can we have that echo taken out at all?
No, Roger.
No, okay, thank you. Okay, appreciate that. Okay, first of all, we do have some new board members. I would ask of the board, since we don't have a formal chair, if we want to elect a chair. We have some discussion first about the board as itself. Do you want to have a person that's directing it, or do you want me as liaison for the city to, run the meeting, per se?
I have a suggestion. Should we introduce ourselves first and go around the table?
We can do so, yes.
What do you think?
Okay. I'm Roger Steinbrock. I am the liaison for the board with Parks and Recreation.
I'm Denise Stone. I'm on the Lawrence Cultural Arts Commission on this board.
Hi, I'm Heidi Champagne. I'm the general manager of the Spring Hill Suites, right next door.
Okay.
I'm Peter Rapkowski. I work at the University of Kansas in the School of Journalism, and with Heidi, we're both on the board of Explore Lawrence.
I'm Liza McKinnon, and I worked at the Lawrence Public Library.
I'm Joey Pata, and I work at Love Garden Sounds.
I'm Katie Tigreen. I'm the general manager at the Best Western Plus here in West Lawrence.
Great. And Brendan Allen is also on the board and is not present at the present time, so. Okay, so discussion, do we want to elect a chair to kind of run things, or how do you, I know those folks that have been on the board before, what's been you want to provide?
I'm okay with you kind of being liaison myself.
Okay. All right.
I'd have to agree with that since I'm relatively new, so I wouldn't know, you're the person, so.
Okay, and I'm relatively new as well, so we'll stumble through this, and those that are seasoned veterans, please direct me as we need to.
It seems to me that this process is fairly straightforward.
Yes, it is.
And the timeline is not that long.
Right.
So I don't really see an advantage to a chair
Okay.
unless somebody else does.
I'd agree with that, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah, and I think Porter last year played, he was the liaison, and there was a chair, but I think Porter
okay.
guided the process along as well.
And the guidelines are pretty straightforward, so.
Right, and I just want to make sure, I want to give you
Yeah.
the opportunity to, if you wanted to have a leader of this, that'd be fine. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is reviewing the Transient Guest Tax Program Guidelines.
Do you have a copy of that? I did not print mine or bring it.
Okay, let me pull it up on.
Oh, yeah, if you
the
could
screen.
just bring it up on there, that'd be perfect.
Let's see here. I'll share this so we can put that. Kurt?
And I'm assuming I didn't read anything specifically different from last year's.
Okay.
Right,
I did find 2 different things to download, and one I called Deluxe because it had more verbiage on a couple of things.
okay.
So I don't,
These were the items that Porter had given me, so I just was following his lead, so, yeah. Okay, so, did everybody look at this beforehand and kind of look at this? It basically provided the timeline, which we will also go over. But the goal of the Transient Guest Grant, or Guest Tax Grant Program, is specifically to demonstrate a measurable economic benefit, including enhancing the cultural economy or travel tourism economy, creating additional transient guest tax and sales tax, and enhance Lawrence's character and reputation for tourism activities and demonstrate pull of regional visitors. And then the program will have one funding cycle each year, and that's what we're in right now. And I won't read the rest, but does everybody understand and everybody agree with what's listed there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so I guess then we can just look at the timeline, and that's that other document. So let me go back here. Okay, and then we'll go here. So we have the first meeting right now. And then the application period, I guess we needed to establish this year's, this is this year's schedule that Porter tentatively put together as the schedule from October 20th to November 20th for the application period, followed by, and these are, we can figure out these meetings, but October 19th and the 21st for informal meetings with the grant applicants. It can be the hybrid public meeting, and it'd be optional for the board, but then I would be there to talk with them about the proposals and how to submit them. And then Thursday, December 1st, and then the Friday, if needed, we would meet again to hear the applicant's 3-minute presentation, depending on the number of applicants. And then December 6th, you would submit the scores directly to me. And then December 9th, we would have a meeting reviewing the scoring matrix. And then the 20th, the City Commission would review the TGT grants for the year. Is that everyone okay with everybody?
Mhm.
Katie, you're okay with this too? Okay, great. So I guess we need a motion to approve this timeline for next year, or for this year, pardon me.
I motion to approve the timeline for 2023's TGT funds.
Great. Heidi has made a motion.
I'll second that.
Oh, no, you're Heidi. I'm sorry.
I'm
No,
Heidi.
Heidi, I did have it. You looked at me and went, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so I did have it. And Peter seconded. Okay. I have a first and a second. Does everybody in favor signal by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it passes. All right, any other discussion we need to have with this meeting then, that you foresee that we need to discuss?
I wanted to bring up a point, and maybe a question for the committee, if we need some kind of a disclosure process, or at least a conversation in case there are individuals who are on the committee who are directly involved in grant applications. So last year, there was at least one individual on the committee whose organization applied for a grant, and that was not discussed, and the member did not recuse themselves from voting. And so I just wanted to bring that up in the spirit of transparency, and we can discuss whether it's more appropriate to recuse or just state that you're directly involved in a grant, but I think that might be an appropriate thing for us to consider.
I agree, I'm glad you raised it.
So if you're recusing yourself, if you were an applicant, you would just not score on your line, right?
I mean,
Or all the lines for all the different applicants?
I mean, I think it's up for our our discussion what we would be most comfortable with. I think definitely, from my perspective, at least disclosing and not scoring your organization's application, I think might be a minimum, but I'm open to.
I think that if we made that clarity on that one, then it wouldn't put that person, whoever it could be, into a position where they're like, oh, well, I'm going to lower all my scores for everybody else because I'm going to give myself a high score. If they know they're not in the mix, then they might have a more, I don't want to say honest, but clear-cut scoring mechanism for the other applicants. Just an idea.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that? I mean, we can actually talk about it at the next meeting prior to the actual, evaluation, if there has been
Sure.
somebody that's submitted. or we can, talk about that now and pass something as a board if you would like. It's up to you.
I'm okay with just talking about it if this situation presents itself.
Okay? And
Okay.
then we would rule on it at the next meeting if everybody's
Exactly.
okay with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do
Does-
have one additional question in regards to the criteria for the applications and how they're weighted, I guess you could say. I found it interesting last year that a lot of the people that generated the most transient guest tax because they bring the most room nights to town didn't receive as much funding as some that did not. And so I just didn't know if there was a way to maybe reevaluate how those are weighted, because I think the people that are generating that transient guest tax should be the ones to receive the grants, in my opinion.
Well, and Katie, last year,
Yeah.
we did have that conversation during the advisory board and the grant applications, and we actually split them amongst
Everyone
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 because of
that-
that to try to stay fair.
Well, and because of the pandemic, because they hadn't done it the year before,
Right.
they actually gave everyone that had submitted an application, or they all received funding. And
Okay.
and that's the way they allocated last year. So this year, we're going to have to get back to our the normal
Mhm.
way that we've done it. So that may take care of itself. But last year was a little unusual.
And
Because-
I just joined last year, and I joined kind of later in, I think you guys had already had your first meeting when I joined as well. So I'm okay with seeing how that goes then this year, since things are back to normal a little bit. So
Mhm.
But I do agree with Katie. That was my perception as well, that
Mhm.
events that were generating room stays were not weighted as much as events that didn't. And so I think it would be useful for us to maybe consider the weighting in this scores and just to take a look at that spreadsheet again.
Mhm.
Well, and I would just call it out too, the goals that I read earlier, travel and tourism and that economic impact is important, but it also talks to Lawrence character and reputation
Mhm.
for the activities in our community. So we kind of have to find that balance between the two of them.
Absolutely.
So that's the thing I would, say to the board, but you ultimately decide how we figure that out. So.
And maybe the scoring mechanism for that one question, which is, 1 to 5 or whatever it is, overnight stays, maybe we score that differently where it's not really a 1 to 5, maybe it's more like a 1 to 10, so that it offers the opportunity, if it's important to bring in, obviously, out of town people to stay the night, that it's weighted just in that one question a little differently.
that's kind of what my thought process was, just that would be worth more points or be more significantly weighted than some of the other questions that might be currently weighted the same, but not quite as important to me as that generating that transient guest tax. So.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Other discussion?
Is there a place to download this matrix you guys are talking about so that we could have a preview to see what the job's going to be like? You know what
I
I mean?
have the one from last year.
I think the one is on the page, and I
Okay,
apologize.
I've explored.
I will get the matrix out
Okay.
that we had last year to everybody, just so you can look at it.
Okay.
And I've got it
And
as
then-
well if anyone needs it. Between Katie and I, we can get them all out.
Okay.
That way you can know what, I know, I was
Thank you.
thinking, I'm sure it's probably out here and I'm not, I'm not looking like a very good liaison. I apologize.
You're doing great.
But we'll get there. Oh, here's the final scoring. No, that's the final scoring sheet from 2018-19. Is this the same thing that it looks like, similar?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the scoring sheet, but it doesn't have the criteria.
The criteria,
No, it doesn't have the
right,
criteria. Let me see if I can find mine real quick.
There's probably another form on here that has, I'm not. Grant guidelines, this may be it.
Mm-mm.
Does this look like,
That's that second one that I found with that
Oh, okay.
italicized text. That's different from the.
impossible, yeah, this would be what your criteria is, isn't it? But does it go in more detail?
It does. It's actually a matrix, like a spreadsheet, and then like the first one is overnight stays or something like that, and then bringing money into the city. If it's cultural, diverse, there's like 10 or 12 different criteria that are on that spreadsheet that really breaks it down.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see what this is.
Well, I'll send what I have. I'm sure I've gotten it from Porter, and we'll out to everybody. And then from there, we will meet with the groups and then have time for them to come and present.
Here it is. I've got it here, but I don't know if I can hook up to anything. But I can let you guys see it on my phone. Just so you have an idea of what it looks like. So these are the,
Oh, yeah.
and then
the
right
criteria.
across the criteria.
Yeah.
Based on different
Right.
things.
Yeah. Who developed, was it Porter who developed
I
this?
think so.
Because it looks like a scoring sheet that
That he has done.
he
Yeah,
has
and
done
then
for
it
the
just-
LCAC.
Well, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to really rely on those that have been part of this board before. And again, this is kind of this whole process for me is kind of I've been a very busy person here of late, so it's been,
Okay, I figured it looked like this.
yes, I'm hoping.
This is how much money we're looking
I get it,
for.
yeah.
And then that's the scoring matrix, economic development,
And it tells
community.
you.
And Katie, you had the form from last year that you're looking at. So, I mean, because you scored them, so you know what that
Yeah.
process is like. Okay, great.
And I can forward it to you, Roger, if you'd like, and
Okay,
send it out to everyone. So.
great.
Peter, I didn't show you because I know you know it.
Any other comments or discussion that you feel we need to have at all? It's a short meeting this time. I think we'll be in longer conversations in the future. I know that for sure. And I'm looking forward to seeing presentations from the community. And again, we'll be sending out the call from the city to let people know that they can apply. And again, that period is October 20th through November 20th, and then reconvene and get that started. But we welcome everyone in the community to submit. We like to see events that celebrate Lawrence and its culture, and overnight stays for those folks that are in the business of hotels, and just creating that economic impact for our community. I think it's so important and so vital. And this whole process, I want to thank the board for serving. I think that's such a critical part to being a vibrant community, and we have a lot of people in this community, and this is being said as a public servant of yours. I appreciate when people engage and take part in the process of government. So I thank you, Katie, as well. I don't want to ignore you on the screen, but I do talk to everybody on the board. Thank you. Your service doesn't go unnoticed at all. So I do appreciate that, and I know the city does as well. And it gets to be a little heavy sometimes, especially when you have to decide funding for people. But that's part of the process. And to me, I want to have community eyes on things, and that's how we get transparency and we make sure that everybody has a part. I think this process, through the process, having a community board, having people present their case for what they're doing, and looking at generating revenue, not only that, but also culture and the things that Lawrence likes. So I think that's all things that we need to be focused on. So I appreciate your time today, and we'll be meeting again later on. And if anyone has any other discussion, we will call the meeting adjourned.
When will the next meeting be? Do you know, is this the schedule that we?
Yes, I believe so.
So.
I believe we're on Friday,
Until the
I
end.
believe.
It
Is it 12/1?
Pardon?
Not 12/1, right?
Yeah, the October 19th and the 21st meetings, that's optional for board members, but then December 1st would be the meeting.
First
And then we'd roll into Friday if we have enough applicants that we need to
Right.
continue on with meetings,
Okay,
meeting with them to hear their presentations.
so we don't meet until December 1st.
Right.
Okay.
So happy Thanksgiving early.
That's really funny.
But we'll get, so, and then again, and we'll send reminders out to the board too, so, and you can put that on your calendar, but you can denote these as dates that we will be meeting, okay?
Okay.
Because you approved it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for coming
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
and make it a great day.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.